Okay, welcome boys and girls. This is going to be our lesson of Unit 2. We're preparing for the CRT. What this video has to specifically deal with is the frequency tables that we're going to experience on the test. So I have a new platform here. I'm going to be working on getting you this calculator right here. I'm trying to make it available to you. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I'll just kind of teach off of it because we're kind of familiar with it. Okay, we're going to be constructing a frequency table, and then a little bit later we are going to be taking a look at how we can answer some of the test questions relatively quickly. All right, so the frequency table, if you recall, the most important part about this frequency table is that magic number. So again, what we do about the magic number is we take the biggest number and the smallest number, and we kind of find the range of numbers. So I already put these numbers in order, so I see that the biggest is 37, and the smallest is 13, creating a difference of, let's go to my calculator here, 37 minus 13, 24, so we have a difference of 24. What we need to do is we need to divide that up into the number of boundaries that we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we divide this by 5. So we go here, we divide that by 5. We get 4.8. 4.8, and then regardless of what this number is, even if it were a perfect number, it rounds up. So our magic number here is 5. All right, so to create our actual frequency table itself, we create this rough draft. And so what we do is we begin by this smallest number, 13, and we increase by this magic number of 5 going down. So this would be 18, plus 5 would be 23, plus 5 would be 28, and plus 5 would be 33. Okay, where these boundaries end is one less of where the next begins. So if this next one begins at 18, this is going to have to end at 17. Next one, 23, and thus this would end at 22, etc., etc. So the question is, where does this last boundary end? Well, this is where I kind of made a slight mistake. I should have taken one extra step here and create a hypothetical start of 38, making this end at 37. Okay, so that's our rough draft. Now what we do is we extend these boundaries. So if you recall, the smalls get a half smaller and the bigs get a half bigger. All right, so this is, see if I can get this to work for me. A little too big, let's make it a little bit smaller. So this would be 12.5 to 17.5. Need to learn how to use my computer here. This next boundary would be 17.5 to 22.5. Etc., etc. 22.5, so that's a half smaller than the 23, half bigger than 27 is 27.5. So what we're also noticing is where these boundaries end is exactly where the next one begins. All right, there it is. Okay, midpoint. Midpoint, if you recall, is exactly what it is. It's the midpoint. So how you find the middle of any two numbers. So the midpoint is equal to the small in the a plus b, a plus b divided by 2. So what that means is, for instance, in this first category, what I do is I go a plus b. So I can use these numbers or I can use these numbers. It's the same difference. So 13 plus 17, for instance, divide by 2. The midpoint is going to be 15. So let me capture one of these numbers here. And so this number is going to be 15. That's the midpoint. I'm going to copy this on down, and then I'll change these here in just a sec. All right, so this next one, 18 to 22. So again, 18, 22, divided by 2, 20. So you'll also notice that these numbers as well will go up by the magic number of 5. The magic number of 5. So I can kind of cheat the system here a little bit and kind of hop to it. Huzzah. It's always kind of good order to check the very lowest one, just kind of make sure you didn't accidentally mess up somewhere along the way. So I'll just check the last one, 37 divided by 2, 35, hooray. All right, frequency. What you're doing is you're physically counting the numbers. So I'm looking for 13 to 17. So that is pretty easy. 13 to 17. So that would be physically these two numbers right here. Let me see if I can underline them. 13 to 17 would be just those two numbers right there. So the frequency of that group would be 2. Right. Again, I'm going to copy this so I have kind of a template to use. All right, so next one is 18 to 22. So 18 going up to 22 would be those guys right there. So there's going to be 3 of those. 23 to 27. Let's go with green. 23 to 27 starts here and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those right there. So there's 10 in that group. And 28 to 32, 28 to 32. Oh, this is another big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. There's 12 in that guy right there. And 33 to 37 is just our last group. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Those last 4. And so the frequency would be 4. Okay. Let me steal this number again. And what we're going to do now is we are going to jump down to this cumulative frequency. So cumulative frequency is going to be our next stop. All right, cumulative frequency. Cumulative, kind of like an accumulation, is the frequencies added up. So to that point. So for instance, at the very first level, the frequencies add up to be 2. Okay, to the second level, right here, the second level, the cumulative frequencies, the frequencies added up to that point would be 2 and 3. So this cumulative frequency would be 5. Next, again, cumulative frequency at this level right here would be 2, 3, and 10. So we got 15, 2, 3, 10, 5, 2, 3, 10, and 12 would be 27. And then last but not least is 2, 3, 10, 12, and 4, making this to be 31. This is a good point to stop and check to make sure this number physically matches the number of numbers up in our list. So we see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 by 8, which is 32. But notice that there's one number missing. So 31 numbers, 31 numbers. Everything is looking pretty good so far. Okay, last but not least, the relative frequency. The relative frequency is most closely related to a percentage, like as a decimal. So in this very first one, we see that we have a frequency of 2 out of a total of 31. 2 out of 31 would be that. So let's just kind of go to my calculator here. 2 out of 31. Booyakcha. So my, let me steal this guy. My relative frequency in this case would be 0.0645. 0.0645. Right, this next one would be 3 out of 31. Calculator time, 3 out of 31. So that is 0.0968. Next is 10 out of 31. 3, 2, etc., etc. 3, 2, 2, 6. Because Mr. Ashton taught me how to round numbers. 3871. Once the very last ones is these 4 out of the 31, and so that is 1. Oh snap! Over here, that is 11290. Hooray! This, my friends, is a complete frequency table. Now, things to take note in this frequency table. Because when you actually do the CRT, I'm not really expecting you to actually create one. Even though you could, you need to kind of speed up the process. So things to look out for, things like if you were to write a multiple choice question, how would you try to confuse the reader? So ways that people are going to try to confuse you is they're going to bank on that you forget that these things are all going to be 0.5s, like this got a half smaller and half bigger kind of concept. So these have to be ending in 0.5s. Midpoints are going to be the midpoints of these things. So add them up, divide by 2. That's a quick check. Also, this goes up by the same amount every single time. So +5, +5, +5, +5. Frequencies, that's just literally a look at the table. Cumulative frequencies, just add these things up. So here is a big category that people are going to try to trick you with the 0.5s, and then this relative frequency is also going to be a big category in which people are going to try to trick you. Note that these decimals will all add up to the number 1. Now note that none of these individually can be the number 1, otherwise you would overshoot the number 1. So what I'm saying is, for instance, 0.0645, 0.0968. I'm supposed to be adding these things. 0.0645 plus 0.3226 plus 0.3871 plus 0.1290. This should be equal to the number 1 or something darn near close. Yeah, perfect. So these all add to the number 1. So none of these individually will make this total over the number 1. And again, this is obtained by picking this individual number, for instance, 2 out of 31, 3 out of 31, 10 out of 31. All right, so to the backside of our worksheet. All right, here are some problems in which there's purposeful mistakes being made. And so can you just look at this table and tell where the mistake is being made? So of the following frequencies tables, upon initial inspection, which column is incorrect and why? So for instance, okay, so I'm kind of going through the checklist. Okay, these things are ending in 0.5s. Okay, that's pretty decent. Midpoints, they're going up by the same amount every single time. I don't know because I don't have a list here. Cumulative frequency 4 plus 2 plus 8 plus 3 plus 1. Boop, 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 boom. Okay. Here's the big mistake right here. So this is the incorrect column because you'll notice that these individual relative frequencies are way above the number 1. Like this one individually is 1. So if I were to add all these together, if I were to add all these up, this is way overshooting a relative frequency of 1. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what this is. Don't really want to take the time, but this is way bigger than 1. So this is wrong because of that column right there, because these things add over 1. All right, take a look at these other two problems right here. There are mistakes being made. If you have any questions, please leave a question in the attendance of the class. So I've created a little slot in the Google form in which you can kind of explain yourself and write your questions in there. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, this is going to be the review of Unit 2, which is going to be on the CRT. All right, so until next time, be good.